covered one, and it was wire and all that stuff. But I love getting it because you're right. It was the possibility of doing, like, looking into the future of what I might do in 6 months. And actually, when I became a comic, it was how I'd go, okay, in May, I'm still going to be a comic. I just got a booking. That's how it was for me. I love that. Yeah, I agree.
I used to use a little teeny address book as my calendar. I just repurposed the pages, and that my early bookings were written down in that little teeny address book. Now, I still use a paper calendar. And by the way, this is an important life hack. If you write it in pen, it will get canceled. So it always has to be written in pencil. It's very important.
This is agreed. Have you ever double booked anything? This is my nightmare. Is that I'm somewhere and I'm supposed to be at a gig somewhere else? I've seen it happen.
I don't know that I have, but well, on a social level, I have where I said that I could do such and such socially, and then it turned out, oh no, I'm flying the night before, and so I can't, or I have this job that I didn't realize I had. That has certainly happened. But you know what my nightmares are? Not so much that. My nightmares are packing nightmares. That I can't get packed in time to get where I'm going. And a couple nights ago, I was doing it. My high school math teacher and biology teacher, who are just celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary,
Aww.
and they asked if I would come entertain at it. It is an interdepartmental marriage, which I frown on, but I did go. And I was supposed to fly out at 6:00 out of Logan in Boston. I was supposed to fly out at a 6:00 flight, and I left the party a little bit later than I meant to. And I literally was living out my packing nightmare. I was already checked out of the hotel, so in order to change clothes from my performing clothes into my flying clothes, I had to bring the suitcase into like a restroom, and of course there's not a lot of my hands were shaking so badly I could barely work the zipper. I'm like, it's my flying nightmare. By the way, it turns out that I got there in time, and the flight was delayed. Ultimately, the flight was delayed for, let me think. If it's 6:00 and then it's 11:00, that's, 5 hours? The flight was delayed for 17 hours.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I got out a little bit earlier because I switched airlines, although when I went to talk to the airlines, they're like, no, there's no other flights. Like, maybe not on another airline. Oh, no other flights. And it turned out there was indeed another flight. But, and by the way, I was in such a hurry that I left my compression socks on.
No.
And by the time I got back to California, the lower part of my legs were like a chicken leg. They were just totally crushed with big divots in them. You can't wear those compression socks for very long.
No, you can't. Oh, my God.
They're very dangerous over a period of time. I think they're supposed to help with circulation. I think they crushed my circulation. I was ready to have my legs amputated from the shin down.
Yikes! Oh my God! Be careful with those. You can't leave them on. Yeah, those are the trials and tribulations of traveling a lot. Now, with the 17 hours, do you know the trick to call? Because a lot of people will go stand in line. I do both. I stand in line while calling the airlines in order to rebook. That's the trick.
I did that recently. It worked. I got better service on the phone, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't go stand in front of them.
And then they promised me a free hotel room, and then the person at the desk was like, "No, you don't get a free hotel room."
Exactly.
I don't know how to do any of that. I actually have a travel agent.
You have a person. We all need people. It's good to have people.
I have a travel agent. She's fantastic. She's just great. She jumps. I can call her anytime. She jumps on the phone in the middle of the night to take my call and to go to the computer and do. I can't do press one. If your flight is delayed, press 1. If your flight is in the midst of crashing, press 2. I just can't do. I get so frazzled, and there's never a button for what I need.
Yep. And then we tried talking.
There's
Yep.
never. Yeah, I mean, and everything is. I mean, that's even like older technology. That's not even the way things work. Like the computers and stuff. But when the phone, when you go to call, I just want a person. I can't do even like ambulances now. If you're bleeding, press 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hate it.
Yeah. It took me an hour on Monday night to be able to get the Sling app to watch the Bears game.
An hour?
It took me an hour because I think they
There's no
purposely
person. Yep.
try to confuse you. They're like, oh, you want the Bears game? Pay this base of $45.99, and then you paid it. They're like, oh, if you want the NFL for this Monday night game, you have to pay $29.99.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Well, they weaken you. That's what happens. Finally, finally you're like a castaway that's been tossed on the waves, and you're crawling up onto the beach. Like, I'll do anything.
Right.
Anything.
I just want to watch the Bears game.
We are talking to comedian Paula Poundstone, the iconic Paula Poundstone. I hope it's okay I say that. You can hear her weekly on her comedy podcast. Nobody listens to Paula Poundstone. And she's a regular panelist on NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. She also voiced the character Forgetter Paula in the feature films Inside Out and Inside Out 2. And you can catch her at the the venue is the George Van. I'm reading George. Like, this is another name for it. The George Van
They've
Dusen.
added a name to it.
Yes.
That's because you guys just said a minute ago that they should all be named after people, and now you created that.
Hey, listen.
Damn it.
This just in. I've been handed a sheet of paper that says the George Van Dusen Theater at North Shore Center on Saturday, September 27th. The show is at 8 o'clock, and you can go to eventticketscenter.com and look for Paula Poundstone. And I am giving away tickets all week because we want to make sure that we have a great audience. We want folks to be jazzed for
I think
for
I
Paula.
want to go.
I know, you should.
I'm not far from there.
My first time seeing
Well,
Paula.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, the first time I saw Paula Poundstone, well, in person. I mean, I saw her like a ton before I started doing comedy, and I saw you at the Navy Pier Skyline Theater. I think there were birds flying around. It was like a big tent, and I know you've done thousands of shows, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details. But someone came in late, and it's one of my favorite crowd interactions I've ever seen. And I wonder, like, how? I mean, you've always kind of worked the crowd and done material. Has it changed a lot in the years since you started?
No, although when I first started and I did that, it was generally because, well, in the beginning, it was upsetting to me because what would have happened is I had a set that I had planned to do, and I couldn't remember. And so, and so I was sort of forced to turn to whatever. And so in the beginning, I viewed it as this big liability. And then one night, speaking of folders, I used to carry a folder wherein I wrote notes on every set I ever did. I did that probably for a couple of years. I would write the date and where it was, and I would write. And it was generally like sort of critiquing myself, saying that I had done it badly. And so I would get off stage and I would write these sad little pathetic notes to myself saying, for God's sakes, you have to remember what you're saying. And then one night, probably while I was writing these notes, it dawned on me that the best part of whatever it was, 5 minutes that I did or whatever, wherever it was, the best part of the whole thing was when I forgot. And so, it was like doing. So after that, I started just allowing myself to do that. Not that I don't have jokes. I do. I have 46 years of jokes rattling around somewhere in my head and stories and the like. But I don't have a set any longer. And I just sort of allow, So every now and then the venue will be very apologetic about something that happened. For example, maybe the sound goes out for a few seconds, or maybe I don't know, maybe the lights go hooey for a little bit, or something like that. And I always say to them, there are no mistakes. It's all part of the event.
Yes.
And so you don't have to worry about that at all, because it's all it's all part of the fun.
Yeah.
If it was Riverdance or Cirque du Soleil, well, someone might have been killed. But this is not Cirque du Soleil.
Right. Paula, can you hang out for another segment? I hate to take all of your time, and I don't know where you are in the world, but I'd love to. I want to talk some more because on that note, because I've seen you in person, and I've seen another comic in person who wasn't as gracious with the venue, and I don't know if I want to tell you who, but anyway, let's take a break here. We're talking.
I can't wait to hear.
We're talking to the iconic Paula Poundstone. She'll be at the George Van Dusen Theater at North Shore Center. Apparently, I just got a text that he was the mayor of Skokie for about 1 million years. So that's which seems like a long time, but apparently the longstanding mayor. That
seemed like a long time. Yeah,
does seem like a very long time. That's going to be on. That is going to be on Saturday, September 27th. The show is at 8. Doors open at 7. You can go to you can go get those tickets at eventticketscenter.com, but also go to paulapoundstone.com because I know there's a link there, especially for our audience who are not in the Chicagoland area, because we are talking to our friends in Seattle as well and people listening online. So let's take a break and continue our conversation with Paula Poundstone and guest co-host Jaime DeLeon joining me in studio.
The Rick Smith Show.
These are the people that we've handed the keys to the kingdom. These are the people that we've said, go ahead, run the country. So are we surprised when we said that they're going to run it into the ground? No, you could go, Rick, you've been saying this is all planned, and I think it is. I think the chaos is plotted. I think they know, as long as there's chaos, we can then do the real goal, which is breaking the federal government and stealing from we the taxpayers.
The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 7 on WCPT 820.
Sports allow us to play, learn, and grow. But there's something more important than victory. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we believe every athlete deserves to be safe. Safe from abuse and misconduct on and off the field. We equip athletes, parents, coaches, and others with the right education to recognize, prevent, and respond to harmful behavior. Join the movement to champion respect and end abuse at uscenterforsafesport.org.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
And guest co-host Jaime DeLeon. And on the line with us is comedian Paula Poundstone, who's performing at the George Van Dusen Theater at North Shore Center for the Performing Arts on Saturday, September 27th at 8 p.m. You can go to eventticketcenter.com. Coming up later on in the show, I'll have a pair of tickets to give away. So at any rate, we were talking to Paula, and I said, so Paula Poundstone was talking about how, venues will apologize for some mishap. I was at do you remember in Chicago, I don't know where you were in the world, but we had a massive heat wave. And the Zanies Comedy Club downtown had a small fire. And we still did the show with no microphones, smoke in the room. Like, we evacuated, and then when everybody came in, we're like, we don't have a sound system. And
a kitchen fire?
I think it was electrical, electrical fire. Yeah. And, we still did a show. And so I think it came up. I did a show one time, and I'm sure you both have done shows where you're in the weirdest circumstances. I did one time on the back of a pickup truck in the middle of a field with people playing volleyball in front of me. Is that part of what makes you sort of nimble when it comes to, people apologizing for the sound system or something on the venue, Paula?
I think it is. Also, after years and years of experience, I don't know, when weird things happen, it sort of, I don't know, in an odd way, it generally makes it more fun. I mean, not if somebody has a seizure or something like that, which has happened a number of times, a few times. But I don't know, just I think it gives you more the feeling that we're all in this together. I've done more than one weird show in my time. So one time I was booked at some casino in Florida. And, by the way, already, some sort of red flag has gone up. But, I'm not rich. Sometimes I take jobs because, it's a job, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I always love the audience. That has nothing to do with it. It's gonna be, do I generally want to work at casino in Florida? Probably not. But I think I work at casino in Florida. So, I get there and, I have a sheet of paper with my instructions on it. And I was supposed to get walked around because it's a big place, get walked around by these people from the venue. And I really don't know who's who or who my boss is or whatever. But a couple of men and a woman, and they come get me in the hotel, whatever, and they walk me up to what is the turf room. And they were sitting around the turf room. I can't remember what the purpose of this was, but the turf room, they also have a track. And so it's overlooking, the track. It's where the rich people go to watch races. And so I'm standing with the woman, and she points out the window, and there is the scaffolding out there. And she says, that's where you'll be performing.
Oh, my God. No.
I think I might have laughed. I thought she was kidding. Well, it turned out it was not kidding. So I have to, honestly, I'm not making this up. It turns out that what I couldn't see from the turf room window, I couldn't see that there was like, stadium-y seats facing that scaffolding. The scaffolding is facing the building and the stadium-y seats. So when it's time, I get walked out, and I have to climb up this scaffolding. And on this, I think it was like wooden planks or something.
Oh, my God.
And not only that, but it was very... And so my hair is going straight sideways. The good thing about my hair is it always looks so awful anyways that there's really nothing. But, it's like in my face a lot and stuff. And you could hear, I don't know, maybe like the Jack in the Box. You could hear, the businesses out on the street. Was that a Super Jack you ordered? And what was great about it, the audience was comfortable enough. I was the only one really in an uncomfortable place. The audience seemed fine. And how awful it was began to be so funny to everyone.
Oh, my God.
So it was one of the more memorable shows I've ever done because it was just, we were enjoying laughing. All that part was great. I think everybody that was there had a good time. It's just that part of what was funny was how awful it was. And I told my manager about this when I got back. I'm like, let's maybe not take a job where I'm on scaffolding. And she was like, I didn't know about that. And I said, well, yeah. And I tried to describe it to her. She was laughing and laughing when I described it to her. Someone posted online a picture of me on stage there on the scaffolding. And it was everything I described it as. My hair is going straight sideways. And the person who posted it was like, oh, my gosh, was this a good time? But I think they were a little surprised, perhaps, at the... that my career had reached these heights.
Really?
I can't believe a casino didn't have at least a tiny stage.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, right.
That is, after all, but when Bugsy Malone opened in Las Vegas, do you know that Rosemarie was on the first show?
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, I learned it from the Rosemarie documentary. But yeah, the whole casino performer, Rat Pack, the whole thing was predicated on people, these shows that they would go to, the Great Showroom. But apparently, that place in Florida, I believe the dog races were more popular.
Amazing. Oh, my God. Yeah, I I guess it's just so bizarre that you find yourself in a situation where you're like, do I need a harness to be on this platform? Can we get some sort of workman's comp on this? We just got a text.
If they had held, if they had held a fake bunny in front of me, I would have taken off.
God. Well, I'm glad it won't be like that at the North Shore Center for Performing Arts, which is the way I know it, but it's also the George Van Dusen
Theater at North Shore Center for the Performing Arts.
Excellent.
In Skokie, Illinois.
And it's such a great place to see. It's such a great place to see comedy, by the way. I know that because it's got that sort of like, it's a gentle sort of riser, like you're kind of like down in the middle of everybody, I think is the way I remember it. And so there's not a bad sightline in the entire place. It's always weird. Like I get distracted. I don't know if you guys do this. I'll get distracted if I can see that somebody can't see me and they keep shifting back and forth trying to either see around like a pillar or the person in front of them. And I start playing the show to them, like just let them know that like I feel their pain. Do you ever find yourself locking into a moment like that you should just like keep performing through, but you can't let it go? Like someone sneezing?
No, you know what distracts me is someone looking like they're not enjoying themselves with their arms folded.
Don't do that.
And
don't get distracted by them.
Okay. When I start to talk to them, because I always talk to them, oftentimes when I start to talk to them, it'll turn out they're having a great time.
Right.
Oh, my God.
It doesn't read that way. What I often ask them, I'll say, sir, because it's usually a guy, I'll say, sir, did your wife have to agree to watch a football game in order to get you to come here? And they get, they're fine. I've, by the way, been to, wait a minute, I've been to the Center Theater at North Shore Center for the Performing Arts in Skokie, Illinois, many times. Oh, yeah. In fact, my dog Mo, who is laying here on the floor behind me, is from Skokie. I was working there one time, and I said to the audience that I was looking to get a puppy. And just, wanting to know if anybody knew anything about puppies. And the person who ran the theater said to me after the show, she goes, were you serious about that? I said, yeah. And she said, I have a friend who has a rescue. And so I ended up getting a puppy from her friend. And my dog Mo is part Golden Retriever and part Newfoundland.
Oh.
And very badly behaved. So I don't know if that's like a Skokie. She's afraid of everything. I have no idea why. As far as I know, she's never been treated with anything but kindness. But she is sure that someone's doing something behind her back. She's very suspicious.
Oh, man. Well, I'm so thrilled that you're coming into town. I look forward to seeing you on September 27th. Again, Paula Poundstone is going to be at we have it as the George Van Dusen Theater at North Shore Center. Paula has an entirely longer title for it, but I know you can find...
No, and within the few minutes that we've been talking, they've added on a couple of different names to it. I believe it says in the United States. Apparently, Trump weighed in, and they had to put in the United States as part of the. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute! It's the George Van Dusen Trump Center.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yes.
It's Paula Poundstone. You can catch her podcast. Nobody listens to Paula Poundstone. I feel like I don't.
You see how she remembered the George Van Dusen?
I know.
Immediately. You heard it one time and you remembered it.
Exactly.
George Van Dusen.
See, that's why we have to have a person's name attached to it. And
the George Van Dusen. Yeah, good point. Yeah, the George what's his face Center Theater.
VD.
I don't know if we should initial it that way. And again, those tickets are available at eventticketscenter.com. You can go to paulapoundstone.com. And, of course, you can catch her pretty regularly while she's traveling on the Stephanie Miller Show, which broadcasts right here on WCPT as well, so all in the family. Paula, absolutely adore you. This was beyond a delight to be able to talk to you, and I hope I get a chance to meet you when you're in town. And thank you for really bringing so much laughter to so many people over the years. Truly an incredible...
Well, thank you very much. I had a great time. Thanks so much. Maybe I'll see you that night, I hope.
Yes. I can count on that. Yeah. Thank you, Paula. And this segment was brought to you by Pride Coffee Roasters. Thank you to Jackie and Patty for making these conversations possible. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. And again, Paula Pound. That was so Paula, I didn't tell you who the comic was that was mean to the sound people. It was he was a jerk. It was Bill Cosby. Yeah, I know that's not surprising. He was such a jerk he came out, he hadn't done a sound check. Jaime, let's talk about it when we come back.
All right.
We are thankful to our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com, go to source.solar, and make sure you make an appointment with Peter Sorellis, see if it's time to get solar panels on your house or business, and go to MonacoBrewingCompany.com and sign up for their newsletter. Phone lines are open. Let's start talking. And Jaime DeLeon joins me in studio, producer of Pilsen Stand Up. We'll talk more about that, too.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight, a low temperature of 63 degrees and light northeast winds. Thursday, sunshine with a high temperature of 76 and northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Friday, sunny with a high temperature of 82. Saturday, chance of showers and storms with a high temperature of 88. Sunday, chance of thunderstorms with a high temperature of 79. That chance of rain mainly in the morning. Monday, sunny and 78. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 82.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
This is your WCPT Progressive Calendar. Tuesday, September 16th at 5:30 p.m., the Chicago Council on Global Affairs will host a panel discussion called Retreat or Resilience, Responding to Global Democratic Decline. Panelists include Norman Eisen, Senior Fellow at the Brookings Institution, and Susan Stokes, Director of the Chicago Center on Democracy. Visit globalaffairs.org to learn more and register to attend. Tuesday, September 30th at 5 p.m., the Institute for Policy Research at Northwestern University welcomes Ali Zaidi for a distinguished public policy lecture. Zaidi headed the White House Climate Policy Office during the Biden administration and served as President Biden's top advisor on domestic climate policy. The event is free and takes place at White Auditorium, 2211 Campus Drive in Evanston.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Monaco Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversey Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MonacoBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
He's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Joining us as we drive it home. Joining me in studio is guest co-host Jaime DeLeon, and we are going to talk about the news of the day and the shooting and death of Charlie Kirk in just a few moments. I know there's a lot going on, and I do want everyone to take a breath. I know that there were conversations earlier, whether it's on social media that you've been interacting or maybe calling into the station. I know we have one texter that was very upset with the tone, and I understand completely. We do need to remind folks that violence is not politics. We are all Americans. We are all human beings, and this is not something that anyone should be celebrating or seeing as anything less than an attack on humanity and a disgusting act of violence. we'll talk about in a little bit. So, Jaime, we'll talk about it shortly. But what a great conversation with Paula Poundstone.
Yeah, that
I just
was
want to,
fun.
I mean, you have to take your moments where you can. I'm not going to live in a space of a constant anger or fear or all those things. We simply can't, which is why we want to celebrate an event coming up this weekend, because Banner Foods is going to be sponsoring the Run for the Parks at Burnham Park at 31st Beach. Joining us on the line is Warren Price from Source Solar. Go to source.solar and make sure you make an appointment soon, because those incentives are running out this year. But we're talking at the end of this year. But Warren, tell us about this event and how you want to. Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Well, the event is this Sunday. It's for the Chicago Parks Foundation presents Run for the Parks, sponsored by Banner Wholesale, Richard Salton's company. And what Source Solar is doing is, what we want to do is we want people to join our team. And every day this week, I'm giving away two sponsorships for them to just join us. All they have to do is call in. I don't care if it's one person that wants to bring two people or two different people or three different people. If they call in and this evening before you get off the air, then I'm going to sponsor them for this charity event.
Excellent. That's 773-763-9278. Let Lady B know that you would like to participate in the Run for the Parks. That's this Sunday, September 14th. And you're also going to enjoy a pancake breakfast, plus you get a souvenir T-shirt.
T-shirt. And there's other things that are going to be given away besides good vibrations.
Right. And you don't have to run, folks. You do not have to run.
You could run, you could walk, you could push, you could ride, you could do whatever you want to. Join us. That's all we want you to do is join us. It's a wonderful event. It's for charity, and the more the merrier.
And Warren wants to sponsor your participation again. So 773-763-9278, the Credo mobile phone and text line. And I think it's going to be a beautiful day for this weekend, too, Warren.
Oh, yeah. Richard already contacted the man, and he said it's going to be sunny, around 75 to 80 degrees and
nice.
Clear skies.
Perfect. And I'm so sorry that I can't make it because I'm leaving town on Saturday, but I'm going to make sure I put it on my calendar for next year and make sure I join you.
So next year you'll be with us.
Exactly.
Can't wait.
But this Sunday, our listeners can join Run for the Parks. You can follow Banner Wholesale Grocers on Facebook, and they've got all the information there as well. It's Banner Wholesale Grocers, and we'd love to have you join Warren and the entire team at Burnham Park beginning at 9 a.m. It runs through 12 p.m., so you'll have a great time this Sunday. And mostly pancakes. Who doesn't love some good pancakes on a Sunday? Just saying.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Warren.
You got it. Thank you, Patty. Have a great, wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. So yes, as we were mentioning before, Jaime, you said you were on social media when this all unfolded with the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Right, and actually, it was the second crazy thing that happened today, because I work downtown, and I went for a walk on my break, and I'm right by the Chase Tower. So I just went around a couple blocks, and then I passed the same corner up, and there was all this activity, all these cops. So an armored truck had just been robbed, like moments before I had walked past that corner. And the robber was shot 5 times by a security guard, and he ran, and then apparently went down into the blue line and collapsed down there, and they closed the whole street off. And I was like, whoa. And then I get back into my office, and I get to my desk, and then I see the news about Charlie Kirk. So it was crazy. It was just a kind of a crazy day.
Well, especially in Chicago when things get tense with everything going on right now, with the idea that I guess they're saying that possibly the National Guard will not be in the streets of Chicago, but obviously we have an uptick of over 200 agents in the Chicagoland area. Have you heard from anybody? I know that there were at least 3 arrests. One guy, just a guy selling flowers, was taken into custody because, of course, I'm sure he was selling flowers.
Right. I don't know about the National Guard. I know ICE is definitely here. There's been ICE activity, I think mostly in near suburbs.
Okay.
I'm not sure why they're starting there, but
get the lay of the land.
Yeah.
See what our energy is like, I guess.
Probably. But yeah, as far as the bigger presence by the National Guard, it's not so far not completely happened yet.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just everything changes every day. It's just
I asked my mom she had an appointment, and my mom is older, and the guy that was apprehended was an elderly man, right? So I mean,
but then they said it wasn't him.
That it wasn't him that they were looking for, or that he wasn't arrested.
The Charlie Kirk shooter?
No. The guy who was the here in Chicago.
The bank robber?
No. The guy who was taken into custody. The guy selling flowers. Was an older guy. I know. See, there's too many things. My mom had an appointment in Pilsen, and she was going to drive herself while I was out of town, and I asked her to reschedule because I would rather go with her while we're having hundreds of ICE agents in the streets. I don't want her switching back between Spanish and English, getting confused. My mom is also a little bit like me.
Fiery,
a little fiery. I don't want her to get poked by somebody that I don't know. I don't know what they're capable of. They seem like they're capable of ripping children from mom's arms and busting windows and dragging people out of their cars.
I don't think there's any reason for anyone to feel secure in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
I'm planning on carrying my passport with me as a second form of ID.
I don't have. Do you have real ID yet?
No.
No, me neither.
No.
I traveled. For the first time I got dinged coming from Los Angeles. They said I always carry my passport. Oh, I mean, I just have it because whatever. Especially when I travel, in case I lose my driver's license. But I had to use my passport coming out of Los Angeles back to Chicago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Which is because of the real ID. But coming out of Chicago, they didn't care. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. We should probably get our real IDs too.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like they're gonna get us on anything.
Yeah, it's right by my office too. I should stop in.
Yeah. There was you Secretary of State there?
Yeah, there was such long lines when it first opened, but
yeah. Well, that's the thing too. I wanted to wait till it got down a little bit. Jim, you're on the line with me and Jaime DeLeon. What's on your mind, my friend?
First of all, the guy was young and he's got kids, so that's a tragedy. But the idea that we have to carry IDs around. And I'm 75 years old. I've been in foreign countries. And what I would do, I would always keep my ID or passport in the safe in the hotel because I figured if I did get pickpocketed or something happened, they never asked me for my papers. I had a couple of scrapes there. I got barred from a casino in Romania, a couple other things. They never asked me for papers there. But I wanted to keep it in there because all I cared about was getting to the airport and getting back to Chicago, But apparently we're living in a police state, so we all have to be carrying a bundle of papers with us wherever we go. And this is just a symptom of the violence that Trump is so accustomed to. He's accustomed to it. This Charlie Kirk, for what I understand, I know that he was a darling of Republican radio. I never heard the guy talk or I didn't know anything about him. I know he's a young guy. But I guess he went and Trump invited him to the White House in 2017 and filled him up with more ideas on how to be a successful dictator. And it's just the violence. The point is, you can only be so violent. Their party is so violent that, the January 6th riot, I didn't want to go into it. Well, and now he's got secret police, Patty, and you've got to carry your papers. This is too much. It's just too much. This is America, United States of America. I've never thought of carrying papers with me or real IDs or anything.
I know.
You know what I mean?
My son is in Italy right now, and I felt like messaging him. Do you feel like staying?
How's it Italy? Why wouldn't you? For sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Italy's great. Italy's great. When are you going to Paris?
I leave on Sunday.
Oh wow!
What? I know.
For Paris? For Paris?
Yeah.
So good for you.
Cashing in all my miles. I have 500,000
good for you.
miles.
Yeah, God love you. I've never been to Paris. My sweetheart was in Paris, but I'd never been to Paris. She was offered a real good job in the 90s, and I look at the United States now, we should have took the job.
I know.
But anyway, but this is a tragedy. It's a tragedy for him and his wife and his kids. Because I grew up.
Ones, yeah.
Yeah, my father died young. He was only 33 when I was 6 years old. My father died. But anyway, the point is, the rhetoric, I don't see any Republicans coming out and saying, let's tamp the rhetoric down, let's get more civilized, let's act more civilized. That's what we need in the United States. We got to get back to a civilization. Civilization is the most important thing. We've got to live together. And it's no way to be, to live like this, to be afraid. And not only that, but the neighbors. You can't even talk civilly to anybody anymore, Patty, because if that's on your mind, foremost on your mind, how crazy Trump is,
yeah,
and you can't blurt that out because you're fear or something, it's just no way to live. I don't know. We got to win the midterms, Patty, and get the country back into shape. That's so. Anyway, Patty, great. Good. You have a great time, and be careful. You got to be careful. I think you're better off in Europe than you in the United States.
I might
anyway,
be. Thanks,
yeah,
Jim.
thank
Have a
you,
good
Patty.
night.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Let's take a quick break here, and we'll come back. We're hanging out with guest co-host Jaime DeLeon. After the 6 o'clock news, we're going to talk to Professor Joel Ostrow because I want to talk about those drones that Russia was flying over Poland, which was frightening to say the least.
Yeah.
And let's continue the conversation on WCPT and KKNW 1150.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Cinnamon is a delicious spice that I like to use when I make waffles for my kids on a Saturday morning, but it's also finding its way into more and more supplements, which, to be clear, are not regulated by the FDA. No matter what you see cinnamon supplements marketed for, the current scientific literature does not back them up to treat any health condition. So now there's this new interesting study out of the University of Mississippi that warns cinnamon can actually interact with some prescription medications, drugs prescribed by a doctor because they are proven to be safe and effective. But a little cinnamon on your breakfast, the author said, is nothing to worry about. What they do advise against is large doses of cinnamon like the type you'd find in supplements. And it's particularly worrisome for people who have hypertension, diabetes, cancer, arthritis, and asthma. Something worth paying attention to. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Constipation with belly pain that keeps coming back and back and back. If your symptoms keep coming back, talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C. Linzess could help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
He's driving it home
Yeah,
with
imagine
Patti
everyone's got a lot to
Vasquez.
say. I have in studio with us Jaime DeLeon, who's a producer of Pilsen Stand Up. When's your next show, my friend?
September 15th, next week, next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Yes.
That's not the 15th. The
It's
15th
not?
is Monday.
Oh,
So the 17th.
okay.
The 17th. I only know that because of my travel
Why did I
plans.
think-
Well, because also we were talking about Pilsen and Latino neighborhoods. You know, they
Right.
canceled El Grito. I think they're rescheduling another parade, but I believe the parade, the Mexican Independence Day parade, will be going on Sunday, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, so it's a lot going on.
I think, what do you think about that? I think, obviously you want people to be safe, but it's also really important to be out there, I think.
I think a lot of white people better show up. Please,
Yeah.
and not better. I'm asking you to please show up, support our communities, and also be peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Don't give them a reason is what I'm going to ask everybody in Chicago.
For sure.
Don't give them a reason.
Right.
Right.
Although sometimes you don't even need to,
There's a woman, I think I can't remember what part, maybe Arizona or New Mexico. She's Latina, but alabaster skin, super white, porcelain, red hair, right? So she's putting a Mexican flag on the back of her car because she's hoping she gets arrested, pulled over.
Right, to
And she
waste
has
their
tinted
time.
windows. Right, so they waste their time on her. And
Yeah.
but she speaks fluent Spanish. So she's like, no puedo hablar inglés. Right? And
Yeah.
it's like, I kind of like that. I wish.
Yeah, I hope.
I
more do it.
could go either way. People could look at me and go either way.
Mm.
I might look Latina. I might not.
Yeah.
That's kind of been my existence.
You're Latina passing and white passing.
That's why I wore the flag today.
Very good.
Here we go. Represent. Hey, Paul in Seattle. You're on with me and Jaime DeLeon. What's on your mind, my friend?
Well, Patty, let us not differ. Let me recap. what you said because I'm not having a schadenfreude experience right now.
No.
But you said, this is okay, but wait, just hold on a second. You said, this is an attack on humanity. This is not politics. Yes, it is an attack on humanity. And yes, it is politics. And I don't know why every time somebody on the right gets a taste of the policies that they endorse, that we on the left fall over ourselves and say, we don't support this, we don't support this. We are the gun grabbers that they hate, okay? This guy endorses attacks on humanity. He said on April 5th, 2022, he says, I got this from Snopes. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it, a cost of unfortunately, a few deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. So he endorses attacks on humanity every single year. And that's what we have every single day in this country. And we have the president and the vice president and all of the people on the right making a big deal out of this where they never do. When there's shootings every day, they have nothing but thoughts and prayers for children who, by the way, the Department of Health and Human Services came out with a report yesterday about the causes of child diseases and didn't include that since 2020 are the main cause of death for children. So, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not the one who has to apologize and say, oh, I don't support this. Let me tell you something. Otherwise, what you're saying, Ted, if you say this isn't politics, you're saying, let's do. We can't politicize gun violence. Yes, we can, because what politicized means is what are the policies and who's responsible. And we have gun deaths is a matter of public policy, no question in my mind about it.
And they won't frame this as a gun violence situation. And by the way, I don't know if you folks know that everyone was texting me, Patty, Charlie Kirk is dead. I know that. I've been watching this story since the moment I learned of the shooting. He was being asked, so he goes to these college campuses to have debates. And so a student was asking him how many of these mass shootings were done by trans individuals. Right. And he said too many. And then I think the next question was, how many mass shootings have there been? And I believe around then was when he was shot, which is so surreal.
His response, I think the follow-up question was like, well, what's the total number of mass shootings? Right. And he was like, well, are we including gang violence? And right after he said gang violence is when he was hit.
And again, Paul, to your point, they're going to frame it as leftists. I mean, until we know more, even though the shooters that were apprehended after the attempts, the attempt and the death of the firefighter in Pennsylvania, that shooter was a far-right MAGA. The shooter outside of the guy who was hiding outside of the golf course was also far-right. But somehow, and then the guy who killed the people in Minnesota, he was also an ultra-white Christian nationalist who had a list of people who supported abortion rights, was only going to attack Democrats. It was still it doesn't matter what we say. I guess to your point. Yeah,
let me go back. Let me go back and underline one of my earlier things. I said, no, by definition, he's not one of us. We are the gun-grabbing liberals. You see, as far as they're concerned, we're the enemy because we're the gun. So this cannot be one of us. It by definition cannot be one of us. And this is what they always say. Over that you can't make me a gun-grabbing liberal and then say one of us was responsible for gun violence. No, we're the ones who want to get rid of guns. Remember, so you can't say that we're all. So you can say whatever. That's it's not part of my crowd. This is why I feel like Let me pull a little John Fiegel thing on you here too. Matthew 26:52 and he said, "Put away your sword. For all who draw the sword shall die by the sword."
Here's what someone just texted, Paul. If you don't think your station is full of hate, go and listen to your casts. Tell me how many times you say fight back. As though we're not supposed to say fight back. Well, what should we say? And have hateful messages. Be honest. Stop your hatred. I knew blood would flow soon against conservatives, and it But did you have an issue when it was children? Right. When it was Democrats?
Minnesota legislators.
Right.
When it was Nancy Pelosi's husband getting bashed over the head. People laughed at that.
Yeah.
They made up conspiracy theories. They said it was his gay lover. Exactly. They made fun of it. They made a conspiracy theory about the Minnesota legislators. They said it was Tim Walz who ordered the assassination. It's just the expectations are just so disproportionate in terms of like what the left is supposed to act like. versus what the right actually acts like every time there is a tragedy.
Exactly. Okay, I tried to send you a link to a short speech by David Brooks, and the email came back. So if you want to have Lady B give me your email again, I'll try sending it again. It bounced back. I sent it to the one that you gave me, the email that you gave me off air. If you want me to do that again, and David Brooks talks about conservative columnist David Brooks talks about how his party has brought America to this. And it's like, wow. I'm nodding my head. David Brooks, I've never thought badly of him. I thought I disagree with him, but I just couldn't disagree with anything that he said because he's owning up. At least he's an honest broker. I've always thought at least that much. He's an honest in what he's saying. He's trying to, because he's a great writer, he outlines it so perfectly you can write the points down while he's saying them. It's only about a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute address that he gave to a British audience. And, this is what we have to start saying back. And the other thing, just finish up, I can't stand it when the left always has to discount their remarks by 30% by saying, and I heard Juliana Stratton say this just a few days ago. She said about crime in Chicago, we're working hard. Is there more work to do? Of course there is. We don't have to discount just say we are working hard and we're getting no help from the GOP.
Right.
That's all you have to say. You don't have to say, is there more to do? You don't have to do the Donald Rumsfeld, let me interview myself and ask myself questions and equivocate. I call that a digressive equivocation. You don't have to keep saying that, it's like saying, I was a heavyweight champion of my sixth grade class. Just say, no, I was a heavyweight champion. You did the work, and we're getting no help. We don't have to say, is there more to do? Joe Biden did it all the time, and it's taking the Donald Rumsfeld. Do you go to war with the army you want? No, war with that whole style just is, and everyone's caught on to trying to act like you have humility when you don't need to. Do you ever hear that?
No, I totally do that. I totally agree. The line should be: this is not a long-term sustainable public safety strategy. Period. Yeah. Period. Yep. What happens when they leave D.C.? What happens?
Exactly.
Nothing. Right? Like in terms of any type of permanent measures that help curb crime. What you do to curb crime, to stop violence, is you work in tandem with community.
Yes.
That's not what they're doing.
That's Jaime DeLeon, producer of Stand Up Pilsen. Next show is next Wednesday, September 17th. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Thank you for calling, Paul. I got to go to the break because I'm late, and I'll get to all of our calls in a little bit. We'll have Professor Joel Ostrow on next.
Listen up, fellow timeshare owners. If you're a timeshare owner and you want out at all costs, you're done, frustrated, tired of wasting money, you don't use the darn thing. Get out now. Hire the best Bulldog timeshare cancellation team in the business. Their in-house legal team, headed by a timeshare cancellation lawyer, can help you fight the biggest and baddest companies out there that sell timeshare. At some point, you were using your timeshare, but now you're not, and you're tired of wasting money. Before you go to the poorhouse, call right now and learn how you can stop the maintenance fees and put more money back in your pocket. Their services cost you a lot less than you think, and you'll save a lot of money over time. Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline now. It's a free consultation.
800-296-0150. 800-296-0150. 800-296-0150. That's 800-296-0150.
If you want thick, healthy, and gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. FBI Director Kash Patel says the suspect in the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Utah Valley University sophomore Dallin Gilbertson says he was in the third or fourth row when the shooting happened.
The crazy thing is that while they're debating about gun violence, we hear a gunshot.
I don't see Charlie Kirk at this point because people are in front of me, but my friend was with me and we just start running off.
Lisa Dwyer has reaction.
Current and former U.S. officials across the political spectrum have reacted with sympathy and horror to the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Many of those officials have experienced political violence directed at their families or themselves. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the shooting reprehensible, emphasizing that political violence has no place in the nation. President Donald Trump described Kirk as a great guy. Other officials, including Gabby Giffords and Steve Scalise, expressed their shock and urged for prayers and unity against such violence. The incident has sparked widespread condemnation and calls for peace. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
In other news, there was a shooting at a suburban Denver high school today. 3 teens critically wounded, including the suspected shooter. President Trump's emergency order over Washington, D.C. is expiring. House Republicans looking to extend it. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer.
The D.C. Attorney General and D.C. Council's soft on crime policies have created an environment of school absences and offenders to be released, allowing juvenile crime and violent crime to flourish.
Data shows over 40% of the 2,300 arrests made have been immigration-related. The Labor Department says producer prices fell unexpectedly last month, down 0.1% from July. Year over year, producer prices were up 2.6%. On Wall Street, the S&P and the Nasdaq registered more gains and again closed at record highs. The Dow backed off from its record, shedding 220 points. This is AP News. Jennifer King has a look at the housing market.
Sales of previously occupied homes are running about 1.3% below where they were last year, when they sank to the lowest level in nearly 30 years. More homes are for sale, prices are down or rising much more slowly, and listings are staying unsold longer, especially in the South and West. While the national median home listing price did rise slightly in July, some metro areas saw price declines of 4% or more, including Austin, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Denver. Active listings increased for the 21st month in a row, climbing nearly 25% from last year, according to Realtor.com. But affordability remains a challenge, with only 28% of homes priced within reach of median income buyers. Sellers are also competing with new construction. The result is that after years of skyrocketing values, home sellers are being forced to lower their prices, offer incentives, or give up, with some homes going into the rental market. I'm Jennifer King.
More news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight, a low temperature of 63 degrees and light northeast winds. Thursday, sunshine with a high temperature of 76 and northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Friday, sunny with a high temperature of 82. Saturday, chance of showers and storms with a high temperature of 88. Sunday, chance of thunderstorms with a high temperature of 79. That chance of rain mainly in the morning. Monday, sunny and 78. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 81.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Atlas Roofing is the best value in architectural shingles. They feature a limited lifetime and wind warranty, up to 130 miles per hour. And their super wide design saves on installation time. Plus, get a free estimate fast on your entire shingle project with our easy-to-use design program. In-store or on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Every day, we go about our lives driven by routine. Our vision clouded by the very normalcy we take for granted. Countless victims of human trafficking walk among us, invisible. It's time to open our eyes. The Blue Campaign provides a unified voice for those who combat human trafficking, whether it's forced labor, domestic servitude, or the sex trade. Learn what you can do to help by visiting dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. In studio, we have guest co-host Jaime DeLeon. He's the co-producer of Pilsen Stand Up. Their next show is Wednesday, September 17th, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I want to thank our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com and put in your order. Maybe a bean subscription, maybe some gay swag. They've got really, really good coffee, and I really highly recommend their whole line of coffees. But they'll be at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market this Sunday from 9:30 to 1:30, and go to their website to find out where else they'll be in the Chicagoland area. And for those of you outside the Chicagoland area, you can make an order online. PrideCoffeeRoasters.com has a limited discount for you. Type in Drive Home 10 before you check out for your promo code and 10% off your entire order. And thank you to Minocqua Brewing Company. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com, subscribe to their newsletter, and please support the work that we all do there. We write columns every single day. I'm on Mondays. Would love to hear from you. I've heard from folks in Idaho and stuff.
I want to go to Minocqua.
Yeah, we'll go to Madison first.
Okay.
They have a tap room in Madison, so it's a lot closer.
Okay.
And we want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment with our friend Peter Sorellis, and see if it's time to put solar panels on your house or business, because those incentives will be expiring. Let's get to our guest. Professor Joel Ostrow joins us. Let me make sure. Let me see. Hey, Professor, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Hey, look how crystal clear that
Patty.
is. Hey, Professor. Don't think I didn't see that little comment you made under Heidi Stevens' post a couple weeks ago when you said, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
I had to get special dispensation from Jonas Bezito to make sure it was okay, first of all. Of course, Professor...
grief.
I'm kidding. No, it's a courtesy to ask a regular guest to come on my show. But Professor Joel Ostrow, of course, teaches at Benedictine University and is an expert on all things. Well, tell us, for folks who maybe haven't heard you before, because we also have listeners on KTNF in Minneapolis and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Tell folks a little bit about your area of expertise and where how you decided to focus on Russia and that part of the world.
Well, those are two really big questions. But I thank you, Patty. First of all, it's always great talking to you. Really appreciate you inviting me on. I started out with an interest in, I wanted to be an arms control negotiator, and pursued an interest in Russian politics, Soviet politics, Soviet military. The Cold War ended. Russian domestic politics became quite interesting, obviously. And so I was studying Russian politics. I still followed the Russian military, but was also studying how Russia was trying to become a democracy for the first time in its history. And so I became expert in the various ways that societies go about creating democracies, democratic institutions, the requirements of those. And then when Putin came to power, I was one of the first to warn about impending dictatorship. I'd been concerned about problems with the Russian Constitution from about the mid-1990s. And rapidly became expert in how democracies fail and how aspiring dictators become dictators. And over the course of that, lost many dear friends, journalists, politicians alike, to Putin's assassins. Seems to continue happening. So anyway, I have expertise in military stuff. I have expertise in democracy and the requirements of democracies, and also how democracies fail. So, nothing particularly relevant today.
Oh my God! Well, we spoke on the Sunday back in June. You and I were on the phone because we were trying to coordinate, and I think we're in the throes of it now. But I did want to update you on something that you had been asking about, like what the policies were of the Chicago Police Department in correlation with City Hall. And we're going to have Alderman Gilbert Villegas on in a couple weeks to talk about what where we are. Obviously, as things develop now with ICE agents on the streets in Chicago.
Might want to move that up from a couple weeks to.
But I'm leaving. I know I'm leaving on Monday, so
we'll miss you.
But I will. I know. So that was according to his schedule when I could get him in as well.
Sure.
But what I did find out from him and from other leaders in the community is, and this is for everybody, if you see masked people presenting as agents who aren't showing badges, don't have warrants, you can call the police department. If the police department determines that they have appropriate appropriate papers or badges, are able to identify themselves appropriately, they won't get involved. But you can, because I think this is confusing for people. Like I saw a woman in New Jersey who saw a Latino being basically grabbed out of his home, and she was screaming, and they ended up like arresting her for videotaping and things like that. And the police showed up because the agents had called the cops. And basically, she was like, "So if I'd called you, would you come for me?" And he was like, "Well, I'm answering the call by who it was placed."
Right.
So that was what I learned from a few folks. That's the best.
Yeah, Patty. Like everyone thinks they're a photojournalist now or a video journalist, right? Everyone's got a cell phone, and we see all of these instances being recorded. I have yet to see a recording of a municipal police officer detaining a masked agent without a badge or identification anywhere in the country.
And that's
so
exactly.
that's why I wanted, and yet there are pledges from police chiefs and such to protect the public when these ICE raids begin, when the deployments happen. And so that was why I wanted to try to have a discussion with various officials in Chicago and at the state level to try to understand why and what they're going to do. And now it's urgent, and hopefully, the Chicago police, right, have a checkered history on that score and how they interact with demonstrators and protesters. In recent years, it's been much better.
Yeah.
But people still. There's an issue of trust, and democracies depend on trust. Democracies don't function if trust in institutions break down, and it is the agenda of fascists and dictators. The first thing they do is undermine trust in institutions. Republican Party,
right?
Now I call it the American Fascist Party, has been in coordinated fashion doing that for at least the last 35 years.
Can I ask you, what do you make of this recent ruling by the Supreme Court that basically legalizing racial profiling, right? It's like, okay, so what are we left with, right? Like, it feels like we're just on our own now. Like, there's nobody's going to come rescue us. The Supreme Court just said, yeah, you can stop people based on their skin color, their language, what you think they do for a living. And I know the ruling is specific and it applies to California, but that doesn't mean there can't be another ruling that applies to Chicago or New Jersey or what have you.
No, that's actually not correct. The ruling sets precedent. It was based on a case in California, but it applies nationally.
Oh, really?
And this is not the first. People also, including just bad reporting. The Supreme Court ruling, what was it, a year and a half or 2 years ago, it was reported that Trump can't be prosecuted for actions as president. That is not what the Roberts Court ruled.
True.
Presidents cannot be prosecuted for crimes they commit
as president.
So that means presidents are above the law, which means we no longer have the rule of law. We are no longer a republic, technically, because the rule of law insists that the law applies equally to everyone. The Supreme Court ruled that we were no longer a republic.
Wow.
Okay, then. There's that. And
no, Patty, you've heard me say that to Joan.
Yes,
before.
I have. I know. And the thing is, what I get a lot of arguments on social media on my page is that people are like, we don't live in a democracy, we live in a republic. And
So regardless of that ruling, though, the wording in the Constitution still stands, right? So does that ruling supersede the actual Constitution?
You should read North Korea's Constitution sometime. The Constitution are just words. Well, now it's not words on paper. It's just ones and zeros. What matters is how the people behave. The people in government, the ruling party in Congress has ceded all authority that the Constitution bestows upon Congress. They've punted on oversight. They've punted on inspectors general. They've punted on budgetary control. They've punted on the laws that created branches of government. They have punted on democracy and said our dictator gets to do whatever he wants. And this isn't. Trump is a tool. right? And he's a very effective tool, but he's not the brains behind this, and never has been. The Millers, the Voghts,
the Bannons,
to a lesser extent, the Bannons. He's more a propagandist than he is an idea guy, right? But those are the dangerous folks, and they found a puppet that they can put out in front, and who is brash and who has a whole career of being a destroyer.
You mentioned a name that I don't think enough people know was the head of OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, which is Russell Vought. And I don't think people have been tracking this, including so remember that letter
by
at the
design.
Yeah, by design. Exactly.
By design.
I know. And the thing is that, and this was during the pandemic, there was an investigation into the quid pro quo memo written by Mark Paoletta, who was chief legal counsel for OMB, which was when they withhold the funding for Ukraine. It was that whole thing about we want the dirt. And it went away because for whatever, not just the pandemic, it probably was too complicated for folks. And Mark Paoletta, was the one that put Clarence Thomas on the bench back in 1991 or whatever, and then was the one that got all the rest of them, basically, and has crafted the Supreme Court in the image of wanting to overturn Roe v. Wade, but also the ultimate goal, as Professor Ostrow is talking about, Russell Vought and Mark Paoletta want the power of impoundment, which is to control the purse, right?
Correct.
And nobody knows these things. Why? I mean, this is just not. It's not.
Well, they do. I mean, Vought was the principal author, editor, right? Like the lead author of the Project 2025. So he's the brains behind all this, and he's the one who put together the group that compiled that whole manifesto for the destruction of democracy and its replacement with dictatorship, and it's moving quite fast. We're quite far along the path.
Is he part of that Catholic cabal, that J.D. Vance is now in? Is he one of those guys, too? Because I know Mark Paoletta is. Okay.
Very much so.
And what's the name of that again? I can't remember it's like a super secret Catholic.
Oh, crap. Yeah, it's the super secret Catholic group.
Super secret Catholic group.
It's not Opus Dei.
Yeah, it's Opus Dei.
Opus Dei.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, these guys are all, at any rate. Let's take a break, because that brings us to, we were talking to Professor Joel Ostrow, professor at Benedictine University, and I do want to talk about the Russian drone flying over.
I have so many questions about Russia.
Let's take a break here. We're in studio. Yeah, I don't know if I want to know the answers, but we probably should talk about it. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation. Jaime DeLeon, co-producer of Pilsen Stand Up. Next show is September 17th. And we have on the line with us, as I mentioned, Professor Ostrow. Thank you for listening on KKNW, KTNF, and AM and WCPT here.
This is a WCPT moment in labor. When Serena Williams won her title at the Tennis Grand Slam tournament, we know she gets the same prize money as her male counterpart. However, prior to 1973, that wasn't always the case. When Billie Jean King captured her first Wimbledon title in 1966, she was surprised to find out that the winner of the men's tournament received £2,000, while she only received £750. After being unable to find any tournaments for women, King and 8 other women formed their own tournament, the Virginia Slims Invitational, where each woman was paid $1 before posing for the famous picture of them each holding up their dollar, with the caption, "Contract Pros." While the move was bold, the pay discrepancies continued. King threatened to boycott the 1973 U.S. Open unless the women were paid the same as the men. Thanks to a grant from Band Deodorant, both the men and women's singles would take home $25,000. Despite the progress at the U.S. Open, it wouldn't be until 1984 that the Australian Open would execute equal pay, followed by the French Open in 2006, and finally Wimbledon in 2007.
As a veteran, you get a lot of advice. But wisdom's harder to come by. A lot of people imagine themselves in our shoes without understanding the weight on our shoulders. The truth is, few can understand the pressure of finding your own way after serving in the military. But few isn't none. Steady yourself. You're not alone. You've got support. Learn more at maketheconnection.net.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. In studio, we have comedian and producer of Pilsen Stand-Up, Jaime DeLeon. And on the line with us is professor from Benedictine University, Joel Ostrow joins us. Professor, okay, so are there Russian stories that you learn about before the rest of us do? Like, I mean, does it make you crazy seeing the things that come out of that regime that you just go, do people need to know more about these things?
Yes, the short answer is yes, but less frequently now. Usually it's on pretty critical stuff that will come out later. Since the war has started, I just know places to go to find out what's happening right away. I have dear friends in Ukraine who I also get information from, and then former journalist friends from when I lived in Moscow and was doing my research. I know you mentioned the drones, and first and foremost, Patti, like, major props, kudos to you for even taking the time to discuss this issue today. Had the murder of Charlie Kirk not happened, this would be the story that would have dominated every newspaper and news program, and nobody's going to hear about it now. And I don't want to exaggerate the importance, but it is also needs to not be minimized because it is of extreme importance. This is the first time that NATO has engaged Russia directly. Those drones are Russian drones. NATO shot them down. I tried to start researching to find out the number of times that Russian drones have encroached on NATO territory over the last year, but I got pulled away. I know off the top of my head it has to have happened at least a dozen times when drones penetrated into either Polish airspace or Romanian airspace in particular. And these are intentional, and just like the Trump regime does, they sort of test, can I do this, how far can I go, and then they go all the way. This is what Putin has been doing. So the drones encroach in NATO airspace. NATO scrambles, whether it's Poland or the Dutch or whoever, scrambles F-35s or F-16s, and miraculously those drones turn around and go back to Russian or Ukrainian airspace where they were intended, out of NATO airspace. This time, there weren't just a couple, there were 19. And those 19 drones stayed over Polish airspace for an extended period of time. I'm not sure how long. And they didn't turn around when they were engaged. I put that passive. When the Dutch, when the Polish, when the Swedish, I know for sure those three engaged F-35s and F-16s, the drones did not turn around and leave Polish airspace. And so the NATO forces shot them down. What is also interesting is Hungary also participated in that mission, and as you may know, Hungary is a supporter of Putin, has tried to block every step of the way any NATO action or EU action, and they've had to do end-arounds around their own rules in the EU and in NATO about consensus action to sort of pretend that Hungary's objections didn't exist. But Hungary also participated in the shadowing of those drones. I don't think Hungary shot them down. I believe it was Polish and Dutch planes that shot down the drones, but I just read something that indicated maybe Swedish fighters were also involved. So many pilots and planes belonging to many NATO allied countries flew those missions, but who fired on the Russian jet drones is of some importance. But what's really important is this is only the 7th time in history that Chapter 4 of the NATO Charter has been invoked. 7th time in the entirety of NATO history where Poland called for an emergency session of the NATO Coordinating Council to determine how to respond and whether some sort of military action, it wouldn't be against Russia, but coordinated action of defense is required. and that meeting's going to happen within the next week.
Wow. Yeah. What were you saying, Jaime?
No.
No. It's and I think that people just figure, well, are they just going to write this off as, as you mentioned, this should be the biggest news story. This should be dominating. It is significant. And I don't think people are absorbing that. And it does seem like a test to the NATO forces to see what their reaction is going to be, to show them that they are willing to put this kind of offense on, right? Or
it's a test to the United States of America, Patti Vasquez. And you may note how immediate and how loud and how forceful Donald Trump came out when his puppy friend was shot. Can you tell me what he said regarding the Russian drones?
I just looked it up.
Penetrating NATO
looked it up. Oh my God! He said, "Here we go."
Not much.
He said,
"Here we go." He didn't say much.
Here we go.
That wasn't the first thing he said.
What did he say?
It was much softer than that.
Oh yeah, what's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with
Something
drones?
like that.
Dude, what up with that?
Well, didn't Russia attack an American factory in Ukraine? And what did Trump say about that? Almost nothing, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
was that significant?
So if you're asking me, you know, FAFO, I'm glad we're supporting Ukraine, and that comes with risks. So we have, factories there, whether they're investments by U.S. government or indirectly investments, arms manufacturers, or even if it's medical equipment. There's money to be made there. Businesses will set up there, but Russia has declared the entirety of Ukraine to be a legitimate target. They're targeting schools. They're targeting apartment buildings. They're targeting markets. They don't care what they hit. They just want to hit. So if they're hitting American factories, it's one thing to hit an American factory that's in a war zone, even though Ukraine didn't ask for this war. Russia, it's another thing if they hit factories in Poland, right? It's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So Russia considered those legitimate targets, and anyone who's going to Ukraine, like, when's the last time you traveled to Ukraine, right? Like, if you traveled there, this could turn out bad. Right. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, with the, I'm sure the very earnest peace talks that Trump had with Vladimir Putin in Alaska, where he wrote, basically,
You really are a great stand-up, Patty, I have to say.
Yes, he was
Everyone go see your shows.
Yes, the lip prints are still visible on Putin's ass when Trump just bent over backwards to welcome him on our shore. I haven't spoken to you about this, but having a war criminal on American soil alone is just unbelievable.
You mean Russian soil? Trump calls Alaska Russia.
Funny. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yikes. Yeah.
At this point, if I were a head of state, a president or prime minister in any of the EU or NATO countries, or for that matter, Japan, South Korea, pick a quote unquote traditional close U.S. ally, I would be looking at the United States and asking, are they an ally, or are they
right?
Yeah.
Are we a leader of the Axis now? Because this regime, meaning the Trump regime, behaves more like it is aligned with the Axis powers than the Allied powers. It's part of that whole Vought plan and Project 2025 plan. To seize assets and economic and political, and to avoid oversight, to avoid accountability, to avoid democracy.
Oh, man. Well, we have to continue having these conversations. Professor Joel Ostrow, do you want folks to follow you on any particular platform or learn more about the work that you do and just learn more from you?
I'm not on X or even Blue. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram, but do produce a podcast with a colleague from Loyola, Brian Endless, called the World Discord Podcast. We've had a bit of a hiatus, but we're making plans to start that up again.
Okay.
Covers international affairs, international conflict, and tune
Do
into
you?
that.
I do have a question from a listener, and I'm going to put it more nicely than they did. But what are your thoughts of how Biden handled the situation with Russia, and did he have talks with Putin after the war started?
I think the foreign policy finesse and expertise of the Biden administration, history better look kindly on it, given the destruction that the first Trump regime tried to do to our traditional alliances. It was miraculous, nothing short of miraculous, how rapidly and how extensively President Biden reassembled the American alliance, reestablished American leadership, and stood up to Russia. Do I have criticisms about the hesitancy at every step of the way about providing new weaponry? Yes. Do I understand why the U.S. military was hesitant to provide Ukraine with the most advanced weaponry at the beginning? Yes. And even when it comes to Gaza, did the Biden administration do enough to dissuade Israel and to stand up to Israel? No. Has there ever been an American administration in history that stood up to Israel as strongly as the Biden administration did? No. Has there ever been an administration that got the world closer to a long-standing peace with a two-state solution by getting all of the Middle Eastern partners on board to guarantee the security of an independent Palestine and no role for Hamas? I'm talking about Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Qatar and Jordan and Egypt. All of them agreed, and all of that was the foreign policy of the Biden administration, but only possible because of the reputation and the trust that the world had in President Joseph Biden and his skills as a foreign policy leader. So,
and
perfect, no, but a lot of effort expended.
And what would you say about the lack of meetings in person with Vladimir with Putin, between Biden and Putin?
Biden rejects appeasement.
There you go. That's why he never met with him in person. Right?
Correct.
There
Correct.
you go. He
You
rejects
stand
appeasement.
up to the dictators. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. There you go.
Yep.
You can keep waiting, 708. Thank you so much, Professor. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Patty. Always great talking to you.
Thank you. I'll
Let's do
talk
it
to you again
soon.
soon. Absolutely. Let's take a break here and continue our phone calls when we come back with comedian Jaime DeLeon in studio with me, co-producer of Stand Up Pilsen. And we'll learn more about that in a moment on WCPT, KKNW, and KTNF. Bye, Professor Ostrow. I don't know how to say goodbye to you. Like I would pick up the phone, but I can't do it on Clean Feed. So I'll talk to you later, my friend.
Talk to you later.
Thank you. Take care. Let's take a break and come right back.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Partly cloudy tonight, a low temperature of 63 degrees and light northeast winds. Thursday, sunshine with a high temperature of 76 and northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Friday, sunny with a high temperature of 82. Saturday, chance of showers and storms with a high temperature of 88. Sunday, chance of thunderstorms with a high temperature of 79. That chance of rain mainly in the morning. Monday, sunny and 78. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Are you looking for more in this world? Are you ready for something bigger? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, the messy and the gutsy. The teachers, the growers, the builders. The skilled, the sharers, the change makers. We need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go all in and all out. We are volunteers, partners, communities, working together, living together, bringing our experience, passion, and joy to building a better world together. From tackling climate change in Mexico to keeping kids healthy in Kenya, from sustainable farming in the Philippines to education in Kosovo. We learn more, give more, share freely, and serve boldly. Are you ready to tackle the tough stuff? To go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
Ooh, just what I needed. A mug. This time of year, what do you give? When it's your extra concert, game, or special event tickets to VetTix, you're giving our nation's brave service members and veterans an amazing experience. Give something to those who gave. VetTix. For more information on how you can make a difference right now, or to become a VetTixer, go to vettix.org.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello. We are
Home
taking your calls.
Vasquez.
I am Patti Vasquez. In studio with me is Jaime DeLeon. Before we get to your calls, I want to make sure we talk about his show coming up on Wednesday, September 17th. Tell folks about Pilsen Stand Up.
Pilsen Stand Up is the longest running independent stand-up comedy show on the South Side. I dare say that because I don't know of any other ones that have been around as long as ours. It's a monthly show. We do it at Simone's, which is a very, very cool bar that does actually a lot of events to bring the community in. And so we have a great time every third Wednesday of the month. Abi Sanchez, awesome comedian, co-producer, and I produce the show. And this month our show is Pilsen Stand-Up, all fuego, no ice. So
outstanding.
I got to give Abby credit for that one. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have an all-Latino lineup this month. And, come through Wednesday, September 17th, 8 p.m., only $10. They have great food, great drinks, drink specials. We got a DJ.
Such good food, too, and drinks. Absolutely. Yep. And great comedy. I love that venue.
So, yeah.
Excellent. That's next Wednesday, September 17th. Mm-hmm. Go to Simone's. Roosevelt's been on hold patiently for quite a while. You're first out of the gate, Roosevelt. How you doing tonight?
Hello, Patty. Thank you for taking my call. How you doing, Jay?
Hey, what's up, man? I remember you.
I remember you too. Jaime. Okay.
Sí,
so folks, I'm gonna start with this. Back in the day, when I was in high school, there was a song, "For the Love of Money." As a matter of fact, that's the Apprentice theme song.
Oh,
if you guys remember, by the OJs. Okay. Now, Charlie Kirk died because of the love of money. Let's examine. Because I'm coming up with some other stuff because most of the stuff I wanted to talk about was almost exactly what Paul from Seattle said and what you said, Patty. I don't feel sorry for him, or the manner that he died. I'm sorry. Because like you said, Patty, these people that surround Trump, that support Trump's ideas, are also cruel. How do they make their money? How does all those people that work for Fox News, they are millionaires. They have no compassion. The gentleman that died had no compassion for children when they were dying because he assumed, just by what Paul had said, which was what I was going to say, and that is you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But these people that are dying on the right, they're dying, and there's going to be more deaths on both sides, meaning there is no such thing as a bullet just going for a Democrat or Republican, independent, liberal, whatever. We're killing ourselves. They're killing our children, and there's a lot of blood in Trump. I'm going to hang this on Trump. And remember what Trump went through, too, an attempted shooting.
Right.
Yeah, assassination. This has gone, how long has it gone? Since Reagan. Reagan went through the same thing, okay? So the people on the right, they're making billions of dollars. The companies such as Fox News, OAN, Newsmax. Did you guys hear the latest that they're suing each other? Yeah. I'm not sure if it's OAN or Newsmax. They're suing each other. For what? Why are they suing each other? Because they are the hunger or for the love of money. Because they want to get on the air and lie and cover up everything that Trump does. Look at Scalise. He got shot. Nothing changed. The children in New England got shot. Nothing changed. And they were white, by the way. And look at our community back in Texas. Texas is the worst state in the nation, as far as I'm concerned, with gun regulation. On the contrary, it's the opposite. Not far behind is Florida also. Indiana is not far behind. But the point I'm trying to make is we're the only country in the world where children is the number one cause of death. Is children.
Gun violence, yeah.
Gun violence. So,
and to your point, and a lot of folks have sent me this quote, by the way, and it was texted to me earlier. This is something that Charlie Kirk said in 2023. Charlie Kirk said, I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our God-given rights.
Yeah. And Patty, to add to what you said earlier, what came to my mind, you know what came to my mind when I heard about the shooting, because I was outside, I was walking, exercising, whatever. Herman Cain. Remember that he died in a Tulsa rally where they had to sign a waiver so that Trump wouldn't get sued in case anybody got COVID? He was a millionaire also. Yeah. And he's the one, Jaime, he's the one that came up with the concept of putting alligators, snakes, and everything on the border. And look this one up. George Lopez flipped it around. He says, go ahead. Put the alligators, put the snakes. In 2 days, there'll be purses and
boots,
a wallet.
belts.
Yeah, belts. Yeah. He goes, because my people are resourceful. Yeah. And I know it's a joke, but look where it came from. It came from Herman Cain. Right. Now, this thing about the court, the latest thing that you spoke of, Jaime, about speaking a language, that idea came from not only a guy that's supposed to represent the Latin community under Trump's regime, and that's Marco Rubio. His idea came about, I think it was 2010. He wanted to make the state, when he was a senator, of speaking only English. And as a matter of fact, that state was the first state in this nation that spoke Spanish. San Agustin. Yeah. St. Augustine. Right. The first language that was spoken in the United States was Spanish in St. Augustine, Florida.
Yeah.
So
let me say this. I think I feel like part of the reason why what happened today is so problematic is because it was done out in the open in front of thousands of college kids.
Right.
And recorded live on social media. Right? Like I saw the close-up angle of him getting shot, and it's horrific. I've never seen anything like that. It's horrific. And so, therefore, the outrage is on another level. However, just weeks ago, a Minnesota legislator, her husband, and their dog were murdered in their home. Right? And then another legislator and his wife were shot. Thankfully, they survived. The
Two
president
children-
didn't say a word about it.
And 2 children were killed while they were in church.
Right.
When someone came, and the first thing that everyone thinks of is what was their identity. At least they do. But at any rate, I also, and our friend Michael Kendo just posted this because he wrote, I had no idea who Charlie Kirk was until an hour ago, but praising the death of another human is simply not something I do or endorse. Don't let hate infect your hearts. And I think that's something I think that's where I'm coming from. I don't even support the death penalty, and I don't have that in me, and that's maybe me. I don't know, and I don't celebrate this kind of hatred, this kind of slaughter, this kind of violence.
I mean, celebrating it is one thing, right? Keeping it in perspective.
Right.
With everything that's been going on and with the cruelty of this administration, I think you can't ignore that, right? So I want to say this, Patty, and part of the reason I asked to come today is because before today, I've been feeling very angry, and I feel that a lot of Latinos are in the same place, right? It's different for us when you see your own people being treated like animals.
Yes.
Right? And when you see hardworking people who look just like your parents and your aunts and your cousins being manhandled, kidnapped, right?
Beaten. We've seen them getting beaten.
Beaten, humiliated, ripped from their families. The anger is building, and as a Latino, as a son of immigrants, as somebody who grew up in a Mexican community, like, I don't know what to do with this anger, right? And so, and the tensions had been rising, and so it's really hard for me to express or have any sort of sympathy, right? Because of what's been going on. You know, if I weren't seeing like our relatives every day on television being mistreated, maybe I might have a different perspective on the incident. But I was already wanting to talk to people about, like, what do we do with these feelings as Latinos watching our people literally being casted away as the worst criminals on the face of the earth. I think it's something we don't talk about enough, right?
Roosevelt, absolutely. Go ahead, Roosevelt. No, go ahead. I'm going to go long.
Can I give you my opinion as far as what you said? It's interesting that what you said, because a lot of us feel that way. Now, I was born in Mexico. Jaime, I'm sure you weren't born in Mexico. You were born here, right?
Right.
So
most of my family was born in Mexico.
So let me give you a perspective from children. You mentioned something very interesting that triggered something in me as far as what you said. Out in the open, this horrible thing. I don't wish bad on nobody, no matter what ideas or what sides of politics. But here's the thing that I've observed in this country. There's one party that plays the long game when it comes down to politics. When it comes down to their children, they play self-satisfaction, whether it's money, things, political power, and that's the conservative Republican Party. And to make it all come around, look at the state where it happened, one of the most religious states in the nation. But the point I'm trying to make is you, as somebody that was born here, you, Patty, are like Jaime. I'm different. I was born in Mexico. But what comes through my mind is these children that are growing up, they're growing up in a horror movie. And I'm talking about all of them, whether they're white, black, and it has an effect. It's got to have an effect, because I wasn't raised up that way when they came here to this country when I was 9 or 10, when they brought me over. I grew up in a different world. Yeah, there was gangs, but they used to beat the heck out of each other.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, Jaime.
Right.
I mean, where you do your comedy and all that, I walked those streets. Nothing ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But there was gangs. You would get beat up. But there was no weapons of destruction that are to tear up a person's body or make a hole the size of a baseball.
No. Yeah.
So the mental effect that our children are going to have, that worries me. And it bothers me because look at the future we're handing over to them, you know, and back to the party of these guns. I mean, look at all the people that were affected on the Republican side. Look at all the people that, to your point, you made an interesting point that I had forgotten. Do you know why? Because it's not reported as much when it comes down to in Minnesota, what happened in Minnesota, because we have a leader that doesn't do anything about it, and we had leaders in the past. All this started also from Bush, because he didn't do what Clinton did, which was re-sign the weapons. So
the heavy artillery. There was a ban.
The heavy artillery.
Yeah,
exactly.
I've got to go to the break.
Thank you for giving me so much time. I love you guys. You guys are great.
Thank you, Roosevelt.
Thanks, Roosevelt.
Let's take a break here. We're in studio with Jaime DeLeon.
Only Mexican I've ever met named Roosevelt.
Let's take a break here and continue our conversation. Stand-up Pilsen next Wednesday at Simone's.
Pilsen stand-up, Patty?
I'm sorry, Pilsen stand-up. You've let me say it wrong the whole show.
No, just one time.
It's all fuego, no ice.
Yes.
Showtime is at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, sure.
More in a moment. It's WCPT, KKW, and KTNF.
Tonight on Democracy Now!
Here comes the sun, a last chance for the climate and a fresh chance for civilization. Climate activist and author Bill McKibben has a new book out as the Trump administration grows increasingly hostile to renewable energy.
We don't allow windmills, and we don't want the solar panels.
All those stories and more tonight at 10 on WCPT 820.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
As farmers and ranchers, stewardship of the land comes naturally. Your work keeps our water clean, improves the soil, and enhances wildlife habitat. It also provides countless benefits, not just for you and your family, but for millions of Americans who depend on this region every day without even realizing it. Thank you for being stewards of America's prairie for all of us. Take a moment to find out how conservation pays. Visit conservationpays.org.
A tree can be a warrior, battling global challenges with greater courage. A tree can be a solution, cleaning our air, supporting our communities, and protecting our wildlife. A tree can be noble, growing hope in every corner of the world. That's why now is the time for trees. Millions of trees. Join our planting movement at arborday.org.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
This is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lyons Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you for joining us as we drive it home. Joining me in studio is comedian Jaime DeLeon is also the co-producer of Pilsen Stand Up. Next Wednesday at Simone's, 8 o'clock show, $10 to get in. They've got great food and drinks. Let's get to our phone calls because we're running out of time. Here's Dave in Hoffman Estates. Dave, what's on your mind, my friend?
Well, Jaime got a little bit of what I was planning on saying. He spot on about that, with the representative from Minnesota and that. And I don't believe I heard President Trump call him or anybody up about that.
Yep.
No.
And
and there's other incidents that, like, Trump supporters laughed at. Nancy Pelosi's husband was bashed over the head. And
right.
They made up a conspiracy theory about that. A Democratic governor from Michigan had a legitimate threat of kidnapping, and they said it was all BS. They created an image of Joe Biden being hogtied, and they celebrated that. And then they're going to call the left the party of violence. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and they lost their minds in that first one when the comedian from Chicago, that time when she had that thing showing like with holding Trump's head,
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on her name, but
Kathy Griffin.
Yes, thank you. But didn't a couple weeks ago, didn't this Charlie Kirk and his MAGA supporter types, and didn't they kind of disagree with Trump on something on how he was carrying out whatever,
Oh, I don't know. You mean the Jeffrey Epstein stuff? It seems like that's one of the things that fractures.
That could be. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there anymore.
No. Did you happen to watch that Abby Phillips show last night?
No.
That she has on CNN. Well, they always got two Democrats, two Republicans, and this one Republican, they were talking about that knifing of that young lady in Charlotte.
On the train.
Yes.
And here's my question about that. And this is kind of what I alluded to before. And every once in a while I do whenever people say, because they're holding up this image of a black man who had some sort of psychotic break on the train and killed this young Ukrainian refugee, I believe. And then, there's a woman from Illinois that they hold up as if this immigrant wasn't here illegally, our daughter wouldn't be dead kind of a thing. And so we have to deport and all these things. And I'm like, I'm just wondering if I'm supposed to hate every white guy because a white guy killed my brother. I just want to know.
Right.
I just want to know what the rules are here.
Yeah,
because I don't. I'm just saying.
The thing I found kind of amusing, though, is the Republican lady, I forget her name offhand, but they were talking. She says all of these, psychotics and that they should jail them all, and then saying why ain't they putting them in mental institutions and that. And I thought, that like that friend of that Keith. Anyway, because Chu went to his birthday party or something last week. But anyway, I was surprised none of them Democratic ones shot back and said it was because Ronald Reagan let all of those people out, remember, out of the mental institutions.
Well, they defunded
no,
mental health.
It wasn't to be funny, but I mean, he cut the funding and pushed them. Yeah,
so
and nobody said nothing to remind him about that.
Well, because when you're explaining you're losing and trying to tell people the facts, there's somebody on Facebook now trying to argue that his mother died because of Biden during the pandemic, and it's like we're not going to win any of these arguments. I got to run to one more call here, Dave.
Okay, no problem. Have a good one. Thanks for taking it.
Thank you. David in San Francisco is calling in. Hey, David, what's on your mind?
Oh, thanks, Patty. Yeah, I could do it in about a minute or less. Who killed Charlie? My wife is a big mystery nut, and almost inevitably, it's wherever follow the money. And Charlie Kirk has bounced between buying gold and buying Bitcoin, and I'm going to bet that the person that killed him was somebody who got suckered by him buying one or the other, and they're bankrupt, and they spent their last penny on the last bullet for him.
That's an interesting theory, because I've actually thought that if somebody actually is assassinates some of these folks who are involved in these shady business dealings, right? Like there's lots of reasons, right? And it's like you don't even have to disagree with people like Charlie Kirk or Trump politically to have been screwed over by them.
And here's the thing: if that's the case, it won't matter because it'll still be the leftists' fault.
Right.
Thank you, Jaime DeLeon. Stand up, Pilsen stand up next Wednesday. Thank you, David, for calling, and thank you, everybody. Lady B, I know we have to go. Bye.
Being blind doesn't always look how others may think.